Hi everybody, how are you all doing today? It is now February 13th, it is about 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and we're going to do an evening wrap-up for Litecoin. Why? Because awesome, it actually ended up breaking out quite heavily, and I think a lot of people were very profitable today. So it'd be very nice to have an evening wrap-up to see what is happening, what has happened, and what we can expect in the future as well. So before we start, I'd really appreciate an upvote on Steemit. You guys can find a lot of charts and information there that you won't find me saying in here. Well, I'll reiterate them here in the video, but on the charts as well, you might find a lot more useful information that you can take away just to supplement what you're learning, right? Because the goal is to ultimately help the cryptocurrency community, and I spend a lot of time making these charts that are in a detailed manner because once again, they really do supplement your learning. Just think of it as extra material. And while you're there, I'd also appreciate an upvote, of course. So let's get into our Litecoin technical analysis, guys. Congratulations to everybody that got in. I made a very big play myself today. I bought on a breakout, actually, right about here, and I wrote it to about right here, and I made myself a nice, a good 8% profit or so, we'll say that. So, I haven't touched Litecoin analysis in a very long time, and the last time I actually did one was right here. Like the last time I did a very big prediction, I predicted over $400. That's my long-term analysis, and I still stand by it. So for the people that are new to my channel, welcome. I just want to show you guys some of the TA that I've done a long time ago on it. Believe it or not, guys, I've been doing TA on Litecoin since $57 to $63, and I might have been one of the first people to anticipate a breakout. Okay, I suggested an entry range of $57 to $63, and I only predicted the first wave between 122 is target 1 and 177, and guess what we hit? We hit target. And then the second time I projected this one, I made a very specific risk to reward ratio where it would go up to about there. This one I failed on it, to be quite honest, because I got stopped out. Well, I got stopped out according to this TA. It went to $102, right? It went to $102, and right after that, it actually fell to about, I think, $80.50. So I'd say that was a pretty successful one as well. Keep in mind that the stop loss is very, it's up to you guys, right? So what I did when I got to about $100 or $102, I actually added more to my position because it was so overbought already, and I ended up riding it to about $80. So that worked out incredibly well for us there if you guys took it. Did I make any other Litecoin predictions since then? Not any major ones. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So let's talk about Litecoin and what they're doing. Every coin right now, I'm just following up on Ethereum Classic because I have a big short position from about $35 there. So right here, what we see first of all is I don't really like to call a lot of things A, B, C, D, E. I like to, well, of course, some of them can fit into an A, B, C, D, E type of pattern, right, if they're very decisive. But these ones in particular, because it's forming more so a channel, we can call it first, okay? We can call this a channel right here, right? Pretty decisive channel. Would you not agree with me, right? A channel slash wedge, depending on how we look at it. If we take from the extreme ends of the body, or sorry, wick to wick, just around here, we see kind of a lower end of the channel, or we can see like that as well. So every coin, in my personal opinion, is doing some sort of WXY type of pattern, which is following Bitcoin, right? And because it's following Bitcoin, it naturally has a very similar type of pattern. Let's go over the coin market cap right now of Litecoin, right? So Litecoin right now is ranked number 5 market cap with about a $9.9 billion market cap. The 24-hour volume actually reached a pretty substantial amount right now. It reached almost $1 billion, which is incredible, guys, all right? This is, I want to be very clear right now. The last time we reached $1 billion was a while ago, I think. Let's see when the last time we reached it. Okay, it was February 6th. That was about a week ago, right? Or a week, 9 days ago about? Not even, 7 days ago. Then before that was the 4th. And before that was, of course, during the big breakout around the January ranges, right? So 1.4 billion market cap, or not market cap, 24-hour volume was pretty much where it was before, like where it started impulsing heavily. And today, of course, we reached a new high for the week in terms of market cap, and in terms of 24-hour volume as well. And just the overall market cap within a week, we've actually rebounded about 33% higher. Before we were at about $330 billion. Now we're at a substantial amount right here. That's awesome, guys. That's awesome, and congratulations to all of us, because every single dollar, it really does add to the market cap. So if you guys have been playing cautiously and you've been waiting for these specific timings of entries and exits, congratulations. You guys have done incredibly well. So now we're going to look at this breakout right here, okay? We're going to look at this specific structure right here, and we're going to break it down. So we're going to talk about Elliot wave. We're going to talk about Elliot wave, and I'm just going to go over the very basics right now. So we're talking about an Elliot wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse wave up. And after every impulse wave up, there's some sort of A, B, C corrective pattern. And I like to look for a break between the 4 points, this right here, 4 and 1. Wave 4 does not overlap into wave 1 territory by more than a wick on a higher time frame in a leveraged market. So please accept a small amount of overlap, but not a lot, guys, okay? You have to be very careful about that rule. Wave 3 is often the longest, but it is never the shortest, which basically means that it can be the shortest, it can be shorter than wave 1, right? Wave 1 could be the longest, wave 3 could be the second longest, as long as it's longer than wave 5, right? Or the other way around, wave 3 could be the medium one, as long as it's longer than either wave 1 or 3. Basically, all that's saying is never the shortest, but it's often the longest. And then after we get this type of pattern in here, an ABC pattern, it attempts to do a breakout. And a lot of the times, it'll fail because it needs to get an extended type of correction. So a breakout occurs like this, for example. I'm going to actually move that lower here. Occurs like that, and sometimes it'll fail again. And then when it fails again, we denote this by another Elliot wave ABC corrective type of pattern, where it'll go A, B, C, and then this point right here is called an X point, and an X point denotes failure. So we get the starting point there, the W where the ABC ended, the X point where the failure happened, and then we get another extended correction here. And sometimes, of course, it can fail again, and if it fails again, what we end up getting is a WXYZ type of pattern. So it'll go something like here, W, X, Y, X, and then another Z, like that. And then now this right here is a 7-wave structure, but with Z, we actually end up getting an 11-wave structure. So what we always like to do is test for failure. And I can confidently say right now that it does not seem like Litecoin is going to fail this point right now. We are here right now in the structure, okay? We are in this blue line right here. That is the one we're at right now, and we're basically impulsing upwards. Impulsing upwards means that it's an uptrend, okay? It's an uptrend that is moving in a steady impulse like this particular wave that we see right here. So Litecoin is definitely on my radar right now. Excuse me. Litecoin is definitely on my radar right now, and we're gonna break this down right here, okay? Let's go to a lower time frame though. Let's go to a 4-hour chart right here, okay? So the way I'm seeing this right now is we can ignore this entire part because I beat that down to death already for us before. Now, I'm going to assume that it's following the same type of corrective pattern as Bitcoin. And I want to talk about the characteristics of ABC first of all. Now, C could actually fall very short of A, right? That is not a double bottom. This is called a truncated C. A truncated C, this is a double bottom, and this is a typical zigzag, for example. We're just talking about the very basic things. If A ends up moving down very heavily, chances are B right here is actually going to be slightly less than that, right? It's not going to move down super large in a big magnitude because A did the majority of the retracing. So the way that I'm seeing this right now is like this. I see this as A, I see this as B, and I see this as C, okay? And the reason I see this for this is because I'm going to draw it in here. This is an A, this is a B, and that's a C right there. Let's get a smaller degree on here, minuet. And let's remove this guy as well, the waves. So now we're seeing this is an impulse move up, right, against the counter. It's a counter trend against the trend, and it can come in a 3-wave, it can come in a 5-wave as well, it can come in a leading diagonal, many different ones. But nevertheless, we see this right now as A, B, and C. And there were 5 waves in here as well. I'm honestly just way too lazy to count it, but if I were to count it, it would most likely be something like this. Very small wave, like actually we probably have to go to a lower time frame to count that one. We want to get as much as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll say about right here, okay? Actually, maybe even right here. 1, 2. Maybe this was 3 right here. Okay. That would be 4, roughly around that region. And then, actually, no, that wouldn't be a very valid count, in my opinion. This would all be 1. This would be pretty much 2, I'm guessing. And a 3 is down here, and a 4 is probably up there, and a 5 like that. It's a really ugly count, but I don't want to break it down further. But the point is that that is the A position. It's the A position because it's the first bottom. It's just as simple as that, okay? And then now, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the X mode, right? This is the X right there where it failed to break out to an impulse wave. And this is my opinion only, okay? Elliott wave is very, very subjective. And because it is such a subjective topic, there can be a lot of issues as well when it comes to agreeing on a certain count. I know that a lot of really good Elliott wave analysts might count it as just a simple, like just as an example, some people might actually call this A, some people might call that B, and then someone might actually call that C right there. But I feel that it's not relative to the actual size of the impulse wave up, right? And I do believe that this ABC just seems to fit it a lot better. Okay, so sorry, I'm just taking a look at this really quickly right here. Alrighty, I can dig this. I'm cool with this. Sorry, I'm just looking at my Litecoin position. Okay, now that we have this, we now are looking for another type of corrective pattern that comes down. And I see this as A, I see this as B, right? And I see this as C. Now, the most important thing to remember is that from B to C, there's always 5 waves down, okay? There's always 5 waves down, like this one, for example. This one makes 5. So the C structure always has 5. So please don't ever, ever, ever forget that. So this is a C structure right here, right? 5. Make sense so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to C. And because this was a C point up there as well, right? Or sorry, that was an X point up there, so it made 5 impulse waves. And what we say is that if the wave failure occurs when this retraces 100%. So because this retraces more than 100%, we can easily label it as WXY now to denote failure, where the first W is here, where the C position is, the X, and now the Y, like this. This is my favorite annotation so far. Now from A, we find a 3 wave right here, and we'll call this an ABC in here. A, B, and a C. I'll make this one a minor. There we go. That's a lot nicer now. So A, B, and C down here to make a 3-wave structure. Now this one we're looking for 5 waves. And we're going to say to ourselves, okay, well this one here looks like a 1. So if this was a 1, when we are looking for a 4, we're going to look for something that does not retrace into that territory by much. Maybe a wick will accept. So what we'll say is this, just as an example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that, and we take wave 1 territory as a hard resistance, okay? A super hard resistance, and that's how we should see it, to be quite honest, as well. So now we're going to draw our Elliott wave from here. This is, okay, this is 1, looks really, really awesome, actually, 1. Oh, wow, this could be 2 right there, this could be 3, cool. Boom, 4 right there, it doesn't retrace into that territory by much, and now we actually get a double type of bottom. Not bad, right? So the way it looks is pretty good. Now what's important is to take a look at this structure right here, and that is the complicated one, this whole thing going on. Now let's break it down quite a bit into Elliott waves. So the way that I'm going to count this right now is like this, okay? We're going to break it down very, very micro. So that's 3, 4, and I'm going to call that 5 just in here right now, okay? Actually, I'm going to start it over, okay? I'm going to count it like this. We're going to call this as wave 1 right here. This is 2. We're going to call this 3. We're going to call this 4. And we're going to call that 5 up there. Now, let's see if it fits the criteria on a low time frame, because we want to break it down to make sure that the waves are actually acceptable, okay? So this is going to be very sloppy in terms of messiness, but it needs to make sense for us, right? So we'd call this wave 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect, right above that territory. So this fits very well there. And now we would call this right here waves 1, right around here, waves 2, and this is 3 right there, 4, and boom, we get a 5. and the wave 4 does not retrace into there. So that's a perfect wave count for wave 1, right? That makes it's pretty nice in my personal opinion. Or sorry, it makes some, I'm going to delete it to clean it up a little bit so we can see it. Whoops. Actually, I'm just going to delete the whole thing so I will just draw it again here. So this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And actually this whole thing right here, guys, is all a fractal, right? This is just a massive period of consolidation. So a really good way to have played this, for example, would have been to look for a retracement right here. This is what I always do on a break up like that. I look for a retracement and we notice, wow, it's actually really bullish. It's bouncing off of the 55 EMA, which is actually an awesome sign that it's bouncing off of the 55 EMA there. Okay, so now that it's bounced off of the 55 EMA there, we now can play into a long position and set some specified targets. So we target one there, target there, and then we just go here and we say, you know what, we can target at least a 1-to-1 extension for here. And even better, what we can do is we can target a 161.8 extension. And guess what, guys? It actually hits both targets. Huge that it hits both targets right there. Pretty cool, right? Nice. So whenever we have the first wave already formed, we like to take our fib extensions to create these kinds of targets. And a lot of the times, guys, they actually hit them in crypto from my personal experience. And that's how I've been very profitable. If you guys have noticed that in these videos of mine, all that I'm doing is using basic Fibonacci extensions. And these Fibonacci extensions are a wonderful thing, and they hit targets all the time, right? So now that we finally have our waves 1 right there, okay? We have our wave 1 happening right here. And what I actually did was I drew a channel in here, okay? I drew a channel, and I'm going to draw some, I'm going to clear all of this actually. No, I'm actually not going to. So the high around here was around this range, okay? And now that we have 1 going up like this, that's wave 1. This is all of this is wave 2 consolidation basically, okay? We'll call all of this wave 2. Some will argue and say that this is a subwave in here, like 1, 2, maybe 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then this is a correction. And this will be wave 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then there's a 5. So I'll actually do it this way as well, okay? Where wave 2, I'll call it ending it here. And that's wave 1 in here. All this is wave 1 with the consolidation. That's wave 1, 2, and then this would be wave 3. This is 4 pretty much. Actually, nope, that's not going to fit either. So we have to reevaluate it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but the 4 goes into that territory too much, so I'm not a fan of it. So therefore, my count is going to have to be this 1, basically 2, this whole period, 3, 4. There we go, perfect. That fits into that area right there. We get a double top, and then we end up coming down. And wave 3 is still longer than wave 5, so it actually fits the criteria extremely well as well. So this one right here definitely fits my books as the first impulse wave up, like this. And then we come down like that. Now, one would argue, is this all consolidation or is some of this an uptrend, right? Well, it would be very, very arguable, right? So maybe this right here is considered the first impulse wave, even though it's not really that impulsive. So I might even consider it from over here, okay, where the impulse wave is. So now I'm left to think to myself, this right here. I'm going to delete some of this now. No, I don't want to delete that. My mistake. Okay, so now I'm left to think that this is now 1. Okay, all of this whole area is 2. And we might have to consider this as some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, let's do that. And let's say that this is a 3 somewhere up there, 4, and a 5. Okay, we'll just say for example. Now then, if I deleted this right here, and here, and here, we can easily say that this is now 1, right? This is 1, and that's 2. And there's a 3 somewhere up there, 4, and a 5. Now let's get our target extensions now that we have our waves 1 and 2, and see what kind of hit it's going to have right now. what we can see is that it's not even close to hitting target yet. And my long-term projection still stands, guys. It's a pretty big number, over $400 for it. So what I am going to project for Litecoin right here is we're definitely going to shoot for these ranges. I will shoot for slightly higher than $200, and then I will shoot for roughly 256 first, okay? So something like that for now, in this particular range. Wave 3 is often the longest and never the shortest. So I do believe that we still have another wave to go, according to Elliot wave. 3, this could be 4 somewhere down here, will bounce off of a fib region, most likely to the wave 4 territory, wherever that is. So 1, 2, 3, around here, maybe even lower. We might even end up trending back down to this region over here as well, right? I just don't know. But what I'm getting to is, so please guys, take this with a grain of salt, and I really mean it, okay? You need to take it with a grain of salt. These lines that I'm doing, I'm just giving you guys an example, so please don't follow it like it was the only way to do it, okay? So and don't worry about the dates. Like, I don't really guess the dates. I'm not really focusing on that too much at all. I'm just going to be focusing on the price action of it going up. So we ask ourselves, if this was 1 and that was 2, let's say that this was 3 maybe. Could it be 3? Maybe it could be, right? If this was 3 right here and we missed a subwave in there, let's go to a lower time frame. No, it really couldn't be 3, I don't think. 1, 2, we'll see if this is actually longer, if wave 1 was longer or shorter than wave 3. Let's have a look at this, right? And what we see is, yes, it could very well be a wave 3. So I'm actually going to call this right here my wave 3 now instead. And I'm going to project some retracement, okay? Going to project some sort of retracement. I don't know how far exactly. I'm just giving you guys a rough idea of what could possibly happen. And that was a pretty strong uptrend, I have to admit. And I think that the wave 3, or the wave 5 rather, and all of wave 3 here will target somewhere over $200, okay? Over $200, and I think the final 5th wave will target somewhere about 241. Yeah, that's my logic right now, and my entry for myself personally will be somewhere taking a fib retracement level right here. So I'm going to be looking for a fib retracement level above wave 1 territory, and I think this is going to be a very bullish type of scenario. So I'm looking for an entry around 170. That's a pretty reasonable range, and I'll be swinging this guy. I'll be swinging this one for a few days. I'll probably get a pretty decent sized position, considering I had a lot of success with it today. There you go. Looks beautiful, right? Waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we take our fib extension, just as an example, of just wave 1, what we get is this right here. We get our 1-to-1 extension slightly higher than $202. And then we also get our extension up here, slightly higher than 161.8, which is around $240. We'll say this one was 202, okay? And then we also project and extrapolate this information based on fib extension using waves right here, 1 and 2. And we see that we can easily hit target. And we say to ourselves, okay, well, if this one hits slightly higher than right here, then could this one hit slightly higher than 161.8? And we say, yes, absolutely can. But we need to acknowledge and respect well, Bitcoin's on a tear right now. We need to respect the fact that wave 3 is often longest and never the shortest. So we always go for at least higher than a 1-to-1. And then our wave 5, we go for a 161.8 extension. So that's it, guys. These are my quick thoughts for Litecoin, right? I'm going to be looking for an entry between, around 170 ranges. Let's put it that way. Right now we're already at 178 or so. I don't know if this is actually going to get way higher or not, but I think that this is very much so the top right now already. I mean, if we look at all the conditions, it's very oversold already, right? Or overbought rather. Extremely, extremely overbought. And because it is extremely overbought right now, I'm not going to enter it, right? There's a lot of conditions and warnings to not enter. Like, you don't want to enter when it's in extremely overbought conditions around 80, 90 RSI, which is what it peaked out, right? So I think that, for example, the 15-minute chart will most likely, or even the 30-minute chart, it could most likely end up coming down to about these regions right here as the RSI support before it starts making its way up again. Now, another way to look at it is like this as well, okay? I'm going to talk about another scenario as well, because I'm fairly bullish on this right now. And so let's say we ended up counting this right here as only wave 1, okay? Wave 1 right there, and this was 2, and this was 3, and now there's a 4 somewhere, like this 4 right there, and now there's a 5 somewhere to target 161.8. So that could be a very valid count as well. So I'm more so giving you guys different alternatives right now. So let's say that this was the count. Could that be possible? Oh, sorry, not that one. This one right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because now this one would be making subwaves 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, and this whole thing is 1, 2, right? And then we get a higher one than there, even to the 161.8. So these are pretty reasonable as well, right, as a count. So this one could be very well 1, 2, and we get a 3 even higher. Sorry, I'll redraw this one. We get a 3 higher than there, and then we get a 4 as well. So please make note of these alternate counts of mine as well. Okay, does that make sense? I'm gonna make it a little bit cleaner like that. So that could be a very valid count as well. And this one actually might seem more valid, right? It might seem more valid because, you know what, I might even change my mind because I'm doing on the fly TA right now. And sometimes when we're doing on the fly TA, a lot of these things could happen where we change our mind, right? So now we're looking at 1, 2, 3, and this is possibly 4 down here, okay? 4 right around to these regions here. And still slightly higher than 200. Okay, it works out to be about the same if I choose a slightly good retracement like that. So nevertheless, my target, regardless of my count, is still actually between here, okay? So we're talking about $202 roughly, right? $202 and up, and the next target is $240. And you know, regardless of if I enter here to play this wave, I'll most likely be looking for a breakout somewhere. It doesn't matter whether it's here to go up to 5th wave or even in a few days to ride it from here, right, from right there to somewhere up there. So my target stands, guys, $202 for target 1, and target 2 is $240, okay? Now long-term wise, I still project the exact same thing, guys. And I'm going to do just a very basic one from right here on the breakout, right there to the top, and to the bottom here where we got it last time. So my long-term target, guys, is still over 100, it's still over $400, okay? $414 plus. That's my target right there. I'm just gonna make sure that I actually got this right in here. Yeah, so my target is pretty much $417 for my target 1, and my target 2 is way up there at like $607. So these are my quick thoughts for, no, not so quick, I apologize, I know it took kind of long. These are my thoughts for Litecoin. I've had major success with Litecoin, guys. I want you to know that, right? My big coins, guys, that I've been really successful with is and I only do these coin setups once in a while, right? I only do them once in a while, and I've had lots of success with IOTA, with Litecoin, with Ethereum especially as well. Ethereum's my main coin that I haven't missed a prediction in Ethereum in 6 months actually. Every time I release one, they actually get the most views for my YouTube and the most hits because people are really looking forward to them because they're always bang on. So my next prediction is probably going to be an Ethereum prediction in a few days. And you guys all know my Ethereum prediction that I made, okay? This was the one that made everybody rich right here, right? This one got a lot of views. I think it got like 40,000 views on YouTube and on the Reddit community, on the Steemit community as well. This was the chart that everybody ended up using where we broke out, and I suggested buy between 292 and 315, and it hit those targets with flying colors and even more. So when I do a Litecoin technical analysis as well, guys, I take it very seriously. If you've noticed, I haven't really changed my tone much because Litecoin to me is like an Ethereum where I take it incredibly seriously. So my entry is going to be roughly 170, guys. And you know what, regardless of how far it goes down, I'm pretty bullish on it in general. And I'll be buying all the way down to like the 165, 160 ranges, and I'm going to be holding this guy for a long term, right? Because it's a really good project. You got to think of LitePay, guys. You have to think of LitePay, okay? The fundamental is insane right now, and everything has really picked up in general, and there's very, very bullish momentum. Unlike, excuse me, I burped. Unlike Bitcoin, you know, it had a lot of struggle breaking upwards, but coins like Ethereum, right? Ethereum, oh sorry, not Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, it's actually just about to hit a resistance right here, and I don't think it's going to break it, to be quite honest. You know, that's pretty major, this resistance right there. It's going to have to really pick up if it wants to break it. But Ethereum Classic had no problems breaking out. Litecoin had no problem breaking out as well. Bitcoin had a lot of trouble breaking out, and right now it's about to, maybe? We'll see. So Litecoin, guys, I'm going to post all my charts that I'm going to take myself. So please go to Steemit and check out the charts there, okay? And while you guys are there, please also upvote it, which I would extremely appreciate and be grateful for. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to the material here as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys well over $200. 200 is my first target, roughly, 202. Second target is 240. And then my third target is for very long term, which I'm going to be using laddering and risk management techniques to, you know, take some micro profits at a time and buy back on dips there, which yeah, usually these positions I don't really call out because they're bigger positions. Like, I don't tweet them. I only tweet my day trading positions, right? But for my swing trading positions, I usually don't share them because they're much bigger positions as well. And they're also my exchange account as well, rather than my margin, because I don't need to margin for things like that, just to hold. And it's mainly hold and forget and manage it throughout the day. So I do look for a retracement around 170 right now, 170-ish, 165, maybe 160. And then I will expect some sort of heavy rally to about $200, $205, and then to 240 to finish the final wave there. So these are my quick thoughts on Litecoin. I hope you guys have stayed extremely cautious, and most importantly, I hope that you guys stay very profitable. Bye now. Have yourselves a great night, baby.